Ooh, laying back.
Laying back.
Hey, laying back. You thought the anticipation and suspense in seeing our beautiful faces. Laying back, everybody. Welcome to the Vanguard, the show for Black Ham Organization to take on the news in that anti-colonial way, that fake news in that anti-colonial way, and get to the truth and to the bottom of things. All right. So yes, come on in. You know, we are the Chicago chapter, part of the Chicago chapter of the Black Ham Organization. All right, and we are here every week, every Monday, to do this for y'all, to give you that political education on today's news. Make sure you are coming to the room saying hi and welcome. Okay. I want to see everybody. Who do we got up in the room? I see. Oh, Rans is in the room. Yes, quite literally, right? But yes, keep on saying hello. But then also make sure you share, like, and subscribe. All right, y'all. We want to make sure that we get this show out to the masses. We get it out to the people who need to hear the truth about what is going on in the world in the real way, not in the way that CNN wants to tell it or in the way that the New York Times wants to tell it, right? In the way that our people can understand and need to understand. And so make sure you like it, share it, subscribe, and comment, all right? So we can hear from y'all and hear about what you have to say about our topics, okay? Land back, F Joe Biden, yes, let's go, Brandon. Land back. welcome. And yes, you might be seeing this giant, this lot of stuff here, all right? It's because there's an assembly line going on, because what are we having today, Chief Watakame?
We're having Tinga.
We're having Tinga? What's Tinga? I swear Tinga is the name of a new rapper. That'd be a good name, yo.
It probably is. Yeah, Tinga's it's a chicken thing. It's like shredded chicken with like it's the sauce that makes it what it is, and like the onions. But just on some tostadas.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're having today.
Mm-hmm. It's a good kind of sauce. It's got tomato, chipotle. You know, onion. It got a lot of good stuff in it. And yeah, it's like one of those things that's like simple but good, you know, like something that your mama gonna make you.
Exactly. That's where I learned it.
Yes. And of course, there's also a vegetarian option. And so we have made from scratch, y'all, some chicken seitan to use for the vegetarian thing, right?
And this is your first time making it, right?
Yeah, it's true. This is my first time making it. And it's pretty good. Yeah, I would say pretty good.
Is it as good as mine?
Your first one was really good.
It really was.
You know, but this is decent. You know, it's decent. It's pretty good. Yes. So make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. All right, and that's how you can keep up with the revolution. Right, that's how you can keep up with what's going on. And if you are not subscribed to Black Hammer TV yet, make sure you do that right now. But yeah, let's introduce ourselves first so that we can let the people know who we are. Can we start with you, G? Nice and loud.
I'm back, y'all. My name's Chief G, representing the colonized people of Mexico. Come from the working class with a lot of pretty good contradictions. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm the chief of IT of under MPA.
Land back here. Chief G is also our special producer as well, so they're very multi-talented. My name is Chief Oju, represent the nations of Africa and Bodiken. I come from the working class with some petty blue contradictions, and I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the chief of agitation and propaganda, which is responsible for getting this information out to you, getting the word of the revolution out to you, all right, and making sure that you understand it and that you can spread the word on it too, okay? And yes, I'm excited to get into these tostadas in a moment.
Yeah,
right,
these tostadas are about to rock my world. Anyway, I'm so excited. I'm so hungry. But no, my name is Ren. I represent the nations of Panama and Colombia. And I have a petty blue background in committing class suicide. And I use they, them pronouns. And yeah, I'm the Minister of People's Affairs, where, we have IT, right? But also we have natural event preparedness, the food ministry, and and global health, right? Like we do work around COVID, making sure that we're staying safe, and informing the people of how to stay safe around, the Rona. But we also, do stuff to make sure that people around the world are like staying safe as far as natural events, and are learning how to grow their own food. So, yeah, learn
Yeah, making sure people survive.
Yes, essentially that's
the job of the Ministry of People's Affairs. Yeah.
Lord.
And I just saw also the comments. Chiem asked, one, I thought I was Persona first. But then like they said, a vegan. I used to be vegan, right? But I'm actually being vegetarian right now, which is fine for now, just because it's less expensive. But it's still not that expensive to be vegan in the end. But I'm gonna put crema on my tostadas, so I'm not vegan today.
Not today.
All right, go ahead, Chief.
Yeah, land back to keep the MPA party going. My name is Chief Atakame. I represent the Coca and the Wirarica people of colonized Mexico. I represent and I am poor working class, and I use they them pronouns, and I am the chief of staff for the Ministry of People's Affairs. So again, just making sure everything stays organized. I am one of the first contacts with for MPA. Like Minister Ben laid out, right? We have a whole list of things that we do for the masses, and so it takes a lot of people. Not really, it just takes. Anyways, it's amazing work. And so it takes work. But yeah, that's what I do.
Land back, yeah. You might have recognized Watakane as well from the book chat, the Rosary book chat that we just did yesterday. We started Open Veins of Latin America, our new book. I can take it back.
Okay, thank you.
We do it family style, y'all. There's pots on the table. That's the poor working class colonized way. There's no like China serving dishes, So yes. We are excited to bring you some topics, but before we do, we want to make sure you donate. All right, how do you fund the revolution? How do you get it going? And you use resources for that. So help us keep people warm this winter. Donate to Black Hammer Shy. What was it? Nobody say last time? 5 for Shy.
Yeah, it's 5 for Shy.
5 for Shy.
25.
Or 25.
Or 25 for Shy. Or 555 for Shy.
Whatever you got, that's a duplicate of 5 for Shy.
999 for Shy. Kind of. That's my Chicago accent. 9, 5.
9. Yeah, that's all you.
So yes, donate. You can donate to Cash App, Black Hammer Shy, or our Venmo, which is Shy Hammers. All right, CHI Hammers with an S. Yeah. So yes, make sure you drop something in there. Oh yes, Teresa, with money. Yes.
Yes, we need that money, right? Like, somebody gave us hand warmers today because we were like, we're trying to get hand warmers, right, to give out to the people. Like those hand warmers are essential, right, to making sure that people literally can continue to feel their hands and feet, right? It gets really cold, especially at night, and the wind here is ridiculous. Like, if it was just the cold, it really wouldn't be that bad. It's the wind chill that makes it a whole nother level of cold. So yes. Yeah. Donate to keep the people warm.
Yes, please do, y'all. And if you can't donate right now, you can pledge something right now, or you can share some more. All right. If you can't do 25 for Shy, then you better share 25 times. We want to see them shares up in the comments too. But yes, land back. Let's get into our topics. We got a lot of stuff that happened this past week, so we're gonna get into it. Oh, yep, it's today.
More than 6 decades after the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. marched for voting rights,
what do we want? When do we want it?
The battle for the ballot is once again front and center in the United States.
What is happening right now would not surprise him. It would disappoint him.
And the slain civil rights icon's daughter, Dr. Bernice King, told Reuters that the very thing her father fought and died for was once again under threat.
There are still, efforts and individuals who would like to continue to manipulate voting districts and create a concentrated group of a minority power in our nation that's not necessarily representative of the population of a city or a region or a state. And so, and other, challenges to the vote, the free exercise of the vote. And so as long as we have that possibility, voting rights is going to be essential.
Republican-led states have enacted a wave of new voting restrictions following the 2020 election, which civil rights groups say disproportionately impact poor and minority voters who lean Democratic.
Hear me plainly. The battle for the soul of America is not over.
In a fiery speech in Atlanta, MLK's birthplace, on Tuesday, President Joe Biden demanded the U.S. Senate enact a voting rights bill to ensure equal access to the ballot box.
For the right to vote and to have that vote counted is democracy's threshold liberty. Without it, nothing is possible. But with it, anything is possible.
Dr. Bernice King says she believes her father's vision will yet come true.
I remain hopeful, and because there is a young generation that I call the accountability generation that is keeping us honest. And so as long as all of those things are working together, and my faith in a God that is within this universe and moving in and through people, I know that ultimately we are going to see some change and transformation. It may not be everything at one time, but we will have victories along the way.
Land back. All right. So yes, today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. All right, the day that the federal government decided to honor the person that they murdered. And it's always been said, right, that they'll canonize revolutionaries or people fighting and resisting against the system at hand after they kill them, to pacify the masses, to make the masses be like, oh yeah, they loved them just as much as I did, so they still must be good. And when all that person was doing their whole life was showing how not good the enemy was. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you saw that was Martin Luther King's daughter, the wild one, Bernice. I think that's the homophobic one, is Bernice. One of them is, and one of them's the controversial one. But the whole family is pushing voting rights for this day, and so was Joe Biden. And for some reason, this MLK Day became super voting rights focused. And there was even a caravan here in Chicago where everyone was driving, honking for voting rights and things like that. I think they were trying to register people to vote. Of course, it's because this is a midterm election year, right? It's 2022. But at the same time, they're trying to still create this faith in this system that we know doesn't work, right? We know these elections don't work. They get stolen, right? People will vote, and then the ballots get counted at 3 a.m. secretly in a back room, and all of a sudden there's more for somebody. There's no way Joe Biden could get 81 million popular votes than Obama during the pandemic. We know these elections are just so pointless now, especially because these politicians, don't got no backbone, right? And can't even stand up for what they believe in, even when they do represent things at first that people seem to agree on. So, of course, liberals always go, Martin Luther King was whitewashed, but it's more than that. He's, being used to push liberal agendas that he wouldn't even agree with. He warned us about liberals too. So, yeah. So I'll start with Watakame. Oh, I'll start with Ren because Watakame chewing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Watakame was eating you.
Yeah.
But no, I really know what you said about people pushing the voting rights stuff. Even today, right? We were talking to somebody who, works with some representative or some bull crap, I don't know. And he asked us oh, are you registered to vote? And I was like, yeah, I guess. Am I going to? No. Because what's the point, right? And especially because right now, and even last election, that was my response, right? It was for the president or whatever. I was what's the point? If our voices, our votes have never really done anything for us, right? It's never been, and to use this man's death, right, as a symbol for that, which he would not have ever I don't know, he never would have fought for, right? That was not part of his what he was fighting for at all. It's disgraceful. It's distasteful, actually. Yeah, that's what liberal media does, right? They continue to do that, where they just continue to take use these like representations of, poor working class colonized people, and turn them into a tool for themselves, right? And it's once again distasteful. It's just it's awful. So yeah, I'm back.
I'm chewing. But yeah, at first Martin Luther King probably would have been down with that.
With the voting?
Yeah, he was meeting with the presidents and stuff.
Oh, sure.
But it's not wrong to meet with presidents because if you're trying to build power for your people, you do what you gotta do. But by the end of his life, when they killed him, he was already talking about not going to Vietnam. Basically talking about anti-colonialism. Right in the end, that's when they killed him. And so, definitely when they did kill him, that's at that point he definitely would have been, down with trying to just vote things into change. What's a comment? What you think?
Yeah, I'm back. This day is always slightly annoying just because of how sold out they've made it, right? It's not even to actually remember the man or like what he did or what he fought for, right? It's about how can we continue to like reap from that, right? Like similar to when he died, in order to like calm the people down, right? They passed the Civil Rights Act of was it 65? To like calm everyone down, right? To like stop the rioting after they murdered him. And like that's not even a secret is the thing. Like it's not even like conspiracy theory anymore. Like it's they're like, yep, that was us. But yeah, it's always disgusting how his life keeps getting used for that, right? By the same liberals that he also warned us about, right? Like he said, like the white liberals are going to be the biggest enemy of the people because they're going to pretend to be friends, right? And it's something that multiple revolutionaries throughout history have said, like Malcolm X. But yeah, no, it's just it's become just a day that you get to not work. Like it's a day that you just get off plantation and stuff like that. But yeah, like Minister Ren said, we were on outreach today, and we got offered a job to work for like a city representative because we were out, working for homeless people. And this man came up to us and asked what we were about and what we were doing, and we were like, "Oh, this is what we do." And he was like, "Well, that's amazing. Well, if you ever want to like work for a city representative and like actually do something like to campaign or whatever, like here's my contact information." And it's so funny because it's like, what does he think that they can provide for us that we're not already doing for ourselves?
Exactly.
That actually provides firsthand help and political education to the masses, right? It's pretty hilarious. So yeah, that's it.
What you got to say, GG?
First, I want to read this comment from F. Joe Biden. It says, most of the BS these liberals be doing in MLK's name, but how enrolling is great. And that's so true because, like this whole voting rights thing, like they do it all the time in like around like when it's like voting season. And to liberals, right, like voting is like action, like all of this work for them, right? Like, it's like they press a button and they feel good. They're like, I did my thing, I helped my community or whatever.
I did my duty.
Yeah, and they use like quotes by people like MLK, Malcolm X about doing something for your people to like promote some liberal BS like this, like instead of like what they meant really was for us to work for our self-determination, right? To work hard and not just, be like, oh, I voted and that's it.
Exactly.
Right. So yeah, it's really disgusting. It's so annoying. But that's what we're here for, you know what I mean?
Exactly. We're here to show our people that the power doesn't come from the ballot and under this system. The power comes from them, and their leadership doesn't come from the people on the list of paper that they punch, right? It's themselves. Those are the leaders. We are the leaders of ourselves, and that's what we show our people every day. F. Joe Biden said, MLK with a B slap Stacey Abrams and Lori Lightfoot. Got that right.
You know it.
And if you didn't know, MLK, when he was in Chicago, he got hit by the rock in the head at Marquette Park on Southwest Side. And he had said there that I've been to all places in the South. I've been all over the South. He was from Atlanta. I've been all over the South, but I've never encountered a city so vile and racist as Chicago. And look at that. So look what happens when you have like the blue states, right? These Democrat-run states. Even MLK said it's worse here than it is down in red state Georgia, right?
Because of Lori Lightfoot.
Mm-hmm. So it's like people like Lori Lightfoot that make it that bad, right? That make racism still exist, right? It's on them.
Oh yeah. So I did see this clip. If Joe Biden says the height of today was Joe Biden saying that George Floyd's death was more impactful than MLK. They basically want to say we're better off dying as victims than actually fighting for our people. Yeah, it was in a speech. Like I had to watch it over and over again. But he said like even like where the king's like life has not been as impactful as George Floyd. Like they point out a really big thing, right? Like they do want us to die as victims of their genocide. And they want us to be remembered that way more than the people who dedicated their lives to serving, right? And to making real change in the community. And it just like...
Man, they want us dead.
Exactly.
And they act like it's a competition. Like a competition of like who's
more famous.
Yeah, who's more famous, who got people
who's more famously dead by their hands.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. Sleepy Joe and all of them, they're just also sick. Okay, you do it. And the last thing, if you think voting is gonna do it, if you're colonized, you got the right to vote in 1865, technically, with the 15th Amendment or 14th, whatever it was, right? During the Civil War. If they needed 100 years later in 1965 to give you the Voting Rights Act, and then now, 60 years later, you need a whole nother law, you ain't never had the right to vote. You ain't got no power in this country, right? How many laws will it take for them to make it happen? For you to be happy? It hasn't happened for almost 200 years. Yep. You ain't gonna get it. It ain't the way. Revolution is the only solution.
Yes.
All right.
All right, break it down, Oju.
Let's go to our next topic.
China is blocking some flights from the US in a bid to contain the spread of COVID. American Airlines says at least 6 of its flights have been barred. United has scrapped trips from San Francisco to Shanghai on 6 days in late January. Reuters reports these US flights are among 60 Beijing has cancelled and passengers tested positive for COVID on arrival.
A quick one. All right. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been seeing this all over the news. Like a lot of people just, like a lot of flights, like thousands of flights just being canceled left and right throughout, the United States. And in particular, there's been a few that are that were on their way to China, right? And they were like, nope, like, basically the amount of cases like that happen on the flight, right? Like that they test positive when they land is ridiculous. And now they're like, oh, well, now we got to start canceling more. And my thing is, if it was just because of that, like just because the people are testing positive, that's one thing. But thousands of flights, like I know the cases are bad, but I'm wondering if it has to do with the employees. Like they don't have enough employees, whether because they're not taking the jab or because they're getting sick. Like so yeah, it's been a little while. So I mean, you shouldn't be traveling during this pandemic anyway. But if you are, make sure you don't fly. Just don't do it, because all these flights are getting canceled left and right.
Yeah, and and one thing about China, because the Winter Olympics are coming up in a couple weeks, right, in Beijing, and so China, who has consistently kept their COVID cases low, right? Much lower than the United States, but at the same time, as a population that is about 4 to 5 times as big. Like 1.5 billion people, and so they're trying to do everything they can to stop surge in COVID at the Olympics, right? So they said they're not going to invite people, or you can't get invitations. It's only it's invite only. Like you can't just roll up with a ticket, But then now they're also canceling these flights to China, right? And so of course people now are trying to say like, oh, China's closing off. China is going to mess up the shipping the shipping things because now things can't go in and out.
Mhm.
And so all of a sudden, like the policies that, plenty of countries have tried to do to stop COVID, that when China's doing it, all of a sudden it's really, really bad. And so something sinister is going on, right? And so, yeah, like they ain't happy about it. The colonizers, they ain't happy about it. Yeah, what you thinking?
Yeah, I'm back. I think it is really funny how they always pinpoint and villainize China, right? But like the reason that China's been able to keep their cases close to zero, right? Has been because of their isolation protocols. Like not just like within the country itself, but who gets in, who gets out. Like those protocols have stayed strict, have stayed clear from the beginning.
Yeah.
And they've been criticized and laughed at for it. But like look at the numbers, right? Like it's the difference between a country that cares about their people and a country that puts profit over everything. And like with the Olympics, like we all kind of, I don't know, should have figured that it was going to be small, that it was going to be, and because it is China, that it was going to be scrutinized to the highest degree. But yeah, like Minister Ren said, like it's not just because of people testing, right? And even if you want to take it at face value and say that it is, that's still freaking crazy. Like to the point where thousands of flights, like even if you want to believe what they're saying, right?
Yeah.
What does that tell you about their protocols? What does that tell you about the safety measures, the jabs, everything that they're telling you is going to keep you safe? If that's not even like, that's still crumbling the system, right? Like even if you look at it that way, it still leads to them messing up and them not caring and them not knowing what to do when, China is taking precautions to keep their people alive. And the whole shipping thing is so dumb because like these protocols have been in place since the beginning and it hasn't affected that, right? Like it's other Western countries that are affecting the shipping crisis, and it's their shipping crisis. So yeah, it's that same ploy to villainize China, and I wish we were heard. That's it.
Yes, like City Builder B says, Miss China on
Exactly.
it, right? Because just because there is a worldwide crisis doesn't mean like of course they're gonna try to put some agents up in there to give everyone COVID in the Olympics, right? But watch China have a COVID-free Olympics. Right?
Yeah.
Like watch it happen because they're using what they have to use to protect people. And they're like, I remember they did the 2008 Olympics in Beijing, like how big of a thing that was for China, like how like just it was just like a demonstration, just a transformation of like that people, from the revolution on. And like they're not gonna like let that slide. They're gonna want to still show the world what they are capable of. Then watch them do it COVID free.
The U.S. can't even have a COVID free classroom, a flight, a train, like ride, like nothing.
You know what the difference is that China and other countries that actually love their people. Not only do they love the people, they got the courage. The B word, courage. You know what I mean? The actual courage to be strict, you know what I mean? Like, because like here in the States, like and in other neocolonial states as well, like they care about their profit more than anything, right? So they're gonna have a flight that's gonna infect their people and make Corona even worse. But places like China, right? Like they're willing to stop whatever they need to stop because they care about their people. They're willing to isolate and maybe like not have their cutest economy or whatever, but they're willing to protect their people. And and that courage, I see it here in Black Hammer. We've had it for 2 years, right? Like trying to spread out good protocols, good masks, and at this point, like the state cannot catch up. They will never will because they don't care at the end of the day, right? But
no, I totally agree with that, Chi-Chi, that they won't catch up because we're seeing an example of a nation that will care enough about its people to take care of them, and then it's also capable at the same time of putting on a safe event, right? Like the U.S. can't multitask like that at all. They barely can feed you while they talk to you about COVID, right? could give you a couple stimulus checks, but then how much time has passed and the situation hasn't changed, right?
Almost a year.
A year since the stimulus.
Yeah.
Where are the checks,
Like
Joe?
Yeah.
Where are the checks,
$1,400
Joe?
Yeah, can you do hashtag where's my stimmy in the comments?
Mhm.
Hashtag where's my stimmy, Joe? Because Joe ain't talked about that yet. They were gonna bring back the student loans, and then they ain't talked to you about your stimmy. So yeah, let's make sure that we get that stimmy and actually get people that take care of us. But it ain't gonna be them; it's gonna be us. So Black Hammer is gonna be that example here, all right, and around the world for you.
That's right.
What's next? Oh, it's related. I know it's related.
Yeah.
We're getting new details from the CDC now about mask guidance as cases continue to ramp up across the country. The CDC is considering telling people to switch out their cloth face coverings for N95 or KN95 masks. Here's why the N95 masks are better. If both an infected person or an uninfected person are in an N95 mask around someone who is unmasked, you could get COVID-19 within 2.5 hours. If both people are wearing these protective masks, it could take up to 25 hours for the healthy person to get infected with the virus. If both people have that surgical mask on, infection could take up to an hour. The time is cut in half if the person does not have a mask on. As for cloth masks, the time's about 27 minutes if each person has a cloth mask and 20 minutes if only one person is wearing a cloth mask.
Lord.
I know MPA is pissed, y'all. They are so pissed. I'm gonna let them talk in a second. I want them to stew in their anger because it's wild, y'all. We have been saying this for almost 3 years.
Wow.
What the hell, y'all? This is something that they are just saying now, like multiple years into this pandemic, 800,000 plus deaths in, and they're like, the bejeweled cloth mask that you got that you look cute in can get you infected in 20 minutes, right? That's literally what they are saying now. And they're saying it so casual, like, oh, wow, yeah, this is some interesting new information. How come not all of them are pissed off too? Shouldn't they be pissed off too? Shouldn't we all be pissed off at the incompetence of this Biden and Fauci, right? Who very well knew that as well. That's not new information to him, right? He's supposed to be a big fancy scientist, right? So, all right, I could start with go red and then watch it come.
I'm like, I better be first. I'm just kidding. Yeah, y'all. Let me just break down real quick, just a tiny bit of science, because it's really just this simple. The virus is freaking small. Okay, it's small as heck. Those cloth masks, the no filter in them, right? They're usually just like a thick piece of cloth. It doesn't have anything to actually catch the virus. Mm-hmm. So as soon as you're talking or sneezing or anything into that cloth mask, it is out. Like it doesn't retain any of that. So it is literally like they've known the size of the particle, the particle size of the virus
Since the beginning.
Yeah, since the beginning, right? Since the beginning of the pandemic, right? They've known this. Yet it's just simple science. They did not let people know, hey, like this is not the mask that you need to be wearing. You need to be wearing an actual medical mask. That's it. Like that's like that. This is literally like it's just that simple. It's just that simple. Joe Biden is just that simple. Fauci, like y'all knew, Big Pharma been known. All those fancy scientists, and there's been people like there have been scientists that have been trying to tell people. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's not just the scientists that are in Big Pharma that are all bad. It's not that all scientists are bad. It's just the ones in Big Pharma that are, put on a leash, or being controlled, right, by their bosses or whatever, right? But there's been ones that have quit, that have been fired, whatever, that are trying to speak out, even including the creator of this jab. One of the main scientists that contributed to the mRNA jab, like, has been speaking out, like, no, this is all wrong. The way that they're doing the science, or the way that they're trying to mandate this crap, it's all wrong. And Like, so just by simple science, y'all, like this, yeah. Yeah, and it's infuriating because how many people could have not died? How many people could have not gotten sick? How many people had to watch their kid, their family, right, alone in the hospital because they weren't able to go in and actually visit them and hold their hand as they passed? Like, how many people have had to go through that throughout this entire pandemic, and yet they want to like be like, oh yeah, this is such a discovery.
Yeah, and
My blood's boiling.
Yeah, no, I told y'all MPA would be pissed. And as much as like Mountains Are H word even said, how many hundreds of thousands of lives lost because they kept this info under wraps for 2 years, right? But things also think about how many people has Black Hammer saved, right? Because we have been giving out this information for that more than that time, right? And we've been giving out K95 masks for free all over the world. So how many lives around the world have been saved because poor working class colonist people came together and organized around something that we knew that our country that we were living in wasn't going to do, right? And so, we have to think of it that way. That's the other side of it. What's coming? What you gotta say?
So the thing is, it's very basic science, right? It's a sifter, right? Like a filter is a sifter. Like that's it. If like pick an example, right? Like food, mechanics. Let's take it back to the freaking like gold mines. They're like mining for gold. Like when you look, there are different sizes of sifters to catch different sizes of things that you want to catch. Right? That's basic mechanics, right? That's basic. That's elementary school shit. That's what this is. That's what this is.
Simple.
In no type of woven fabric, like cloth, none of it is gonna be tight enough to protect you from this virus. Because if a needle can go through it, a needle can go through it. There's no way. And that shouldn't take CDC scientists 2 fucking years to figure out. And especially not when not only have we been yelling it from the rooftops and being called crazy and being called anti-science and being called conspiracy theories and whatever, right? But like also other countries, it's been open source information, open source experiments, open source research. Yes, for the masks themselves, yes, but for COVID specifically, everything that liberated countries have done has been open source. Because not only do they care about saving their people, they want this information to save others. Like, where do you think we got our information from? China, who was on the K95 game since day fucking one. Right? And like, it wasn't just like, oh, China said it, we're good. Like we checked, we triple checked with everything. And science, like I said in the book chapter, if you were there, this is an experiment that is reproduced over and over and over again successfully because it's science done right. Like to wait almost 3 years is nothing short of genocide, and I think we forget what that word means because of how much it's used. But like, don't get it twisted. Our genocide has never ended. This is not a new type of genocide. This is a continuation from the first time they came over here, right? And like biological warfare was one of their first tools against us too. This is not a new game plan. Like and again, it's been poor working class leadership, right? Black Hammer that has been yelling this. Not to say, oh, we were right, but to say, like, we can save your life, or like give you the information for you to save your life, right? Like millions, hundreds of thousands of people are gone, and like that number is not even something that we can comprehend. Not really, right? Because we don't know those people. Like, even if you go onto a bus and there's all these people and like you really start to think about like, oh, each of them have their own individual life.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's wild,
Yep.
right?
I totally know what you mean.
But
Yeah.
like hundreds of thousands of human beings
Mhm.
who died suffering when they didn't have to is genocide. Like you want to talk about holocausts, right? Like it just because it just it makes me want to cry. It makes me want to yell. It makes me want to swear. It makes me crazy. It makes me crazy. Like, for real, it drives me insane that more people don't stand up, that more people don't fight back, that more people don't open their minds to just logic for just a second and put the pieces together, right? Like, it just, and that's what we're here to do, right? Like, that's why we do outreach. That's why we do political education, not only to save lives, not only to provide resources, but to wake people up and to show them the facts, right? It's not even a case of opinion. It's just to show them the facts.
Yes.
And when our people see, or like come to, not that they don't see it, because obviously we live under colonialism and they see the problems, but when they start to believe in their own leadership, it's over, right? And like something like this would never happen under the leadership of like colonized people or of a liberated countries, like, because it hasn't in China, it hasn't in Cuba, it hasn't in all of these other countries that like actually put their people first and put science above it, right? Like, put science for the sake of saving human lives, not science for the sake of profit, right? Not faking science like to fit your hypothesis, but to follow it, like true science, right? And it just, like, all of these people's lives are on their hands. And you know, like, obviously I'm glad people are going to start wearing the right masks, right? But like, it didn't have to take this long. That many people didn't have to die unless it was by design. And like, that's the part right there.
Exactly. It's complete design. Because I like something that F. Joe Biden here said earlier. It's like, you know, it wasn't even about the jabs themselves. I mean, it wasn't about the mask in the end. It was just so they could get the jabs out. And then now that they're realizing they're not working, then they put it out. So it's not even like, oh, like, you know what, we want to take care of you now. It's never that, right? Because it's always our genocide. It's always our people's death that they are after, unless they want to use us as the loot, as resources, right? And so, you know, don't take them telling you about these masks and it being a correct answer as them being people who care about you. Right? Don't take that as a sign that they care about you. Take it as a sign as they can't lose all of you or else it'll completely collapse. Right? They're just trying to save their resources because they consider you a resource. All right?
I do want to point out what Commander said, right? People still won't even wear the correct mask because at this, like, they've lost all faith in them because of our lives. Exactly. Like, now people, like, I won't blame people for not wearing them because, like, what are they supposed to believe? They've been told 4 jabs was going to save them. We were told cloth mask was going to save them, right? Like, it's completely true. And like, that's just, again, of the perpetuation of that. And like, it just, you're gonna start seeing people being like, "Oh, survival of the fittest," like they did with the jabs, right? Like, still, like, condemning people to die because they don't believe in the system or because they have doubts or whatever. But yeah.
So make sure if you do want that free K95 mask, you can go to blackcamera.org/free mask so that you can get that. I think it's mask, not plural, I believe. Free mask. And so, you can go to our website and we can get one delivered to you, okay? Or multiple ones delivered to you. Because we know places like here in Chicago, they're starting to deliver K95s through like the aldermen and all the mayors trying to put it out. But then they don't even give out information about how to take care of it, how to use it. There were people I saw comments about it in different, you know, Chicago neighborhood groups being like, well, our family uses 3 a day, but they only gave us 3. Like, what am I supposed to do? So I need 10 more. I need 12 more. And it's like, no, like, they don't tell them how to keep them clean, all that. But we have all that information on our website at blackcamera.org/COVID-19 basics as well. So that's right with the free mask website. All right. So yeah, land back.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna get into our next topic because oh damn. Damn.
Alan and Cheryl Van Dyke is scheduled to be released on February 3rd after serving a little less than 3 years and 4 months behind bars. And based on the terms of his parole, he is expected to return to the Chicago area. Currently in isolation at an undisclosed out-of-state prison, Jason Van Dyke is less than 3 weeks from freedom.
It's a shame that Jason Van Dyke has a date that he can be paroled, and Laquan McDonald can never have another birthday.
Van Dyke was convicted of second-degree murder and 16 counts of aggravated battery, 1 count for each shot that took the life of Laquan McDonald. When he's paroled February 3rd, Van Dyke will have served about half his sentence of 6 years and 9 months.
He wants to have a quiet life. Jason doesn't want to be on the media. He doesn't want to have anybody covering him, I don't think. I can't speak for Jason, but I know what kind of person he is, and I think he just wants to live his life.
My prayer is that Mr. Van Dyke comes out a different man than when he went in.
The now 43-year-old has served most of his 3+ years out of state, at one point assaulted at a prison in Connecticut. But activist William Calloway, who helped make public the dashcam video of the shooting, says the former cop should remain behind bars.
U.S. Attorney John Losh has the legal authority and he has the moral obligation to file federal civil rights charges on Jason Van Dyke.
Messages left for the U.S. Attorney's Office were not returned. William Calloway is now calling on the transit unions to halt CTA services later this month in an effort to pressure the feds to file charges.
Lay back, y'all. So more real life. So if you don't know, if you're not aware, back in 2014, 17-year-old Laquan McDonald was murdered by Pig Jason Van Dyke, who ended up eventually getting charged with second-degree murder and 16 counts of assault, which were supposed to represent each shot that he shot him 16 times. And so when they did the trial, of course, Chicago blew up the first time, right? And then the trial's happening. I remember that day of the verdict, that they were sending kids home early from school. They were telling people to go home from work early. Like the day that day in Chicago, the day ended at 2 p.m. Right? Because they were preparing for if it was a guilty verdict, people were scared, right?
Yeah.
And I remember somebody even coming in like, oh yeah, we haven't had preparations like this since 9/11. I'm like, this is like 9/11 to y'all. That's how much Connor's people just terrified them. But so he got 6 years in the end. He got guilty on the second-degree murder, which was just a probation because you don't need a sentence for that. And then you could only really get charged. It was only one assault in the eyes of the law. So it was only he was guilty on all 16 counts for each shot, but it was just one assault charge, and assault got him 6 years, right? And so now he got sent out of state so that no one would try to get him, because in Illinois they would have got him. And he's only served 3 years now, y'all. And it's just again an example, people who just rely on this liberal this liberal wish that the justice system is going to provide real justice, right? That this court system is going to really turn things around, and that they're guilty and they get in jail, and that's justice, that's retribution for what happened. And to rely on that it's dumb. It's dumb to rely on it. It is dumb, because if you see how many of people in your family end up in the system for years and years and years for little stuff, it ain't fair. It's never consistent. It's always arbitrary, but the arbitrariness always points back to colonized people, right? And so, people who wanted Derek Chauvin to go to jail, all this stuff, it's just useless. It's just a waste of your energy. And for people to call civil rights charges be dropped now. So you want him in jail again? What's going to happen again? He'll get out in 2 years. I don't know what they want to do in order to actually feel like there is justice. The only way we can get justice is with a revolution where this doesn't ever happen again, right? And so, as much as I'm angry about him just being free and being out, the streets probably get him. that, especially coming back home, which is dumb.
Yeah, so dumb. But do it.
Yeah.
Come home. It's a good idea.
Yeah, Chicago's waiting. It gets me even angrier though. Is like it's all the people who still believe in this justice system. Yeah.
It's just a waste of energy, right? Like and like we were talking about the liberals with the whole voting rights thing.
Yeah.
Like liberals look at organizing as like, doing a protest to get the right to vote and doing a protest to put someone in jail instead of like actually putting the energy to something that's helpful. And the most annoying part about it is that our people, right, they start to believe in those like rabbit holes that don't do nothing, and then they lose hope when this type of thing happens, right? Like the liberals suck the hope out of our people, right?
All the time.
Because and the Democrats, the establishment, they're happy about it. They're happy about like our people losing hope because it means that they're not like to them, if we don't have hope, if we don't have like revolutionary optimism, right? Like they gonna continue to live their lives, stealing our people, continuing genocide. So the only solution, right, is for us to be self-determining, for us to get rid of these liberals, for us to finally, do revolution and yeah, like we gotta get our people off of these liberals' hands. Like they deserve better.
Yeah, no, our people deserve way better than constant lies and constant trickery. But to thinking that all this is gonna work for us. Do Watakami and then.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, this is wild. I saw this earlier, and like I remember when everything first happened. Like I heard about it, all the way in Utah, because it was a big deal, and I was around a similar age, close enough to where or like I think he's my brother's age, or something. I don't know. It was something like that. But it was where it was just it got really real. It was one of it made the world seem really small.
Yeah.
To me, right? Because like the way that I grew up, like my world was very I didn't know anything outside of what my own situation was, right? Or like my own family or anything like that. And it made the world seem really small because someone all the way in Chicago, like the same stuff was happening, Yeah. And it made a full circle for me. And so it's one of those that I don't think I'll ever forget, right? And yeah, the fact that he's out in 3 years, like it's hard to be surprised.
Yeah.
It's hard to like feel any kind of like, oh my god, because like this is what we expect, right? We expect our lives to be dispensable, like in the system, right, in the colony. And yeah, like G was saying, right, like these liberals take the hope out of our people, and that's Fed work. That's Fed work, like because like you said, the Democrats and the entire colony loves to suck the hope out of us, right? That's why we're oppressed so hard. That's why our kids keep getting killed. Is to suck the power out of us, or to try, right? And yeah, like yelling into the air with no purpose of even like political education, it does nothing for anybody. And his family member or whatever was saying like, oh, he just wants a quiet life. I hope that man never knows quiet ever again. I hope quiet is only the last thing he hears. Disrespectfully. Landback.
Yeah. And even when he was in prison, y'all, he was isolated. Like he had it good there too, y'all. And because his friends helped him do that. It's not like he was all of a sudden, because he was found guilty outside of the system and then therefore treated like everyone else is within the prison system. Nah, he got special treatment because he represents the system that he used to put people in.
Yeah.
And probably still puts people in, even if he ain't Ms. Javamal.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, yeah, I really want to unite with what y'all have been saying about like, yeah, liberals suck the life out of our people. I've seen it so many times where like we'll be giving out masks, we'll be talking to the people, and people are like, "How old are you? Oh, you don't know anything. You're too young," right? Like that type of attitude because they think that we're being naive about the work that we're doing. We're being naive and like wanting to change the world, right? And it's not naive, right? It's literally like we want this because it's what is right. Like we want this because that is what our people deserve. Our people don't deserve to, just to be murdered for like no reason, to be murdered for even a small reason, right? Like to be like hunted down and shot 16 times. 16 times, yo, like that's ridiculous. And like I'm not surprised that like a pig would do this. I'm surprised that wouldn't have meant something more to people, the jury or whoever, right? And I'm not even that surprised by that. It's just a system that's like, whatever. But it's just yeah, like to use this, right? People are going to continue to use this to put people on a hamster wheel. To be like, oh yeah, like we have to get this person in office and then they'll do something about this, right? We have to get this, especially right now, it's election season. Like somebody is probably going to use this to like get some votes or something, right?
Yeah, they are.
And it's disgusting. Like it's continuing this system on this like endless route, right? And like we have to change it. We have to be like, nope, not doing that ever again, right? Like we're not believing in the system no more. We have to create a new one. And each person, right, can contribute in such unique ways. So yeah, join Black Hammer and we can figure out what your unique way of contributing will be, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Together.
Yeah, and like that hamster wheel is so important that you bring up. Like, it is a hamster wheel of not just someone gets murdered, protest, election, law, someone gets murdered, protest, right? It's a hamster wheel that liberals got us on. That you think that the right would be also getting us on that hamster wheel, but they are on their own wheel, right? Doing their own thing, trying to get what's theirs, and then you're on the liberals' hamster wheel, just being a puppet for them, right? Participating in all this.
They burn down our cities because our kids get killed.
Yeah, exactly. And so, are we going to continue to let them do that and have us be these puppets? No. We're going to get what's ours and ally with the people that help us get what's ours. So yeah, man, back. We got, I believe, one more topic. Oh yes.
All right, just in time for cuddle season. Your Netflix and chill nights are about to get a little bit more costly. Netflix raising its prices again. The subscription fees for the popular standard plan will now cost you an extra $1.50, and the monthly cost for a basic plan jumped from $1 to $10. That's a big leap. For those in the premium plan, you're now forking over $20 for the streaming service. Cheryl, I just keep all my cuddle movies on my VHS tapes and just run them when I need them.
You gotta live in a perpetual throwback. I love it, Crash. Thank you.
Oh, God, colonism is so sad. He still has a VCR, y'all. That's the crisis that we're in. He's using a VCR.
Skip DVDs completely.
Yeah, just like not even DVDs, VHS tapes.
I mean, honestly, I would have some VHS tapes if I could.
If you could,
yeah,
exactly. But like, you don't have a VCR, right?
No, exactly.
And apparently he's stuck at that, and he's a news anchor. That's how little they're paying everybody, y'all. So inflation. So you've seen this inflation. You've seen this inflation. It's making everything more expensive. Right? And what's happening? You're paying more and getting the same thing, or paying more and getting less. Right? And a lot of times it's paying more and getting less. Yeah. And so now you are paying about $16 for chicken breast now, which is, that was when I knew like it was bad. I'm like, chicken's this expensive, y'all? I knew it was bad when I was like, oh wow, what was it was the other grocery products. They're super expensive now. The things that just used to be so cheap. And now we're seeing like this just go across everything now. And of course, things like Netflix, which is just like liberal media for the most part, right? Every show's got a gay character. Every show's gonna talk to you about, you know, identity politics and, you know, all that. Now they're making you pay more for that propaganda. So, of course, most colonized people, we go off of our, you know, there's someone with a password and about, you know, 20 people using it, right? But they're cracking down on that now too.
Yeah.
You know, they're actually trying to. I think it's HBO Max. I think is the first one to really crack down on it. They're starting to do changes to like the login process and like the subscription so that people can't do that anymore. Right? So we're just seeing this continued inflation, like just empty out all of our pockets that we barely have anything in because we've gotten fired, or that we quit that job finally because they weren't protecting us, or they were mandating that we take the jab, all that. And so a lot of people are, you know, losing out on a lot of things, including things like Netflix. Brandon, you want to say?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, this is wild because at least to me, like, I used to be on that student discount Netflix, right? That was my thing. I was like,
they have it?
Yes, they did.
I remember that.
Like if you were in college, like you got a discount or whatever. So I used to do that, right? And that was good because I was like, whew, good. I like even back then, I think it was like $10 for the basic one, right? So, you know, I got like $5 or something like that, right? But as soon as it went back, like I, you know, graduated, whatever, they took away that, and I was like, I don't know if I want to pay that, like, because, you know, and the thing is, you know, even the length of time, I've noticed that shows stay on there is getting shorter. Like I feel like it's nowhere near as long. You have to watch it like as, you know, while it's on there, right?
Because they can't afford their shows.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why so, you know, just like what you were saying, like the price goes up, but what you're getting is a lot less. Like, you know, the shows that you actually want to watch is like going down. And yeah, you know, at first it was the Disney, like all the Disney crap got taken off because the Disney Plus came out and you were still paying the same amount. So, you know, I don't know, maybe something else, maybe Marvel or some crap will come out with its own platform. But
they're on Disney.
Oh yeah. I forgot. Oh Lord, I forgot that Marvel got bought out. Oh, that's wild. That's so wild to me. That does not make sense. They don't go together. But oh, Lord, I'm like gonna forget that happened in like 2 weeks. But no, yeah, like you know, with inflation and stuff, this is just gonna continue to happen. Like more and more shows, more and more things that, like, you know, make people, you know, kind of be able to process things and, like, you know, calm down at the end of the day, right? Like that's mainly what Netflix is used for, is like for people, working class colonized people who, you know, are borrowing it from their aunt or whatever, to be able to wind down from the day. And there's going to be less and less of those types of things that are available to them because the prices are going to go up for them. So yeah.
Or Netflix and chilling. People are gonna just have to. People are just gonna have to chill now.
Yeah.
Now you gotta have to talk to each other. Oh no, you gotta get to know each other.
Talk to each other?
Yeah, they gotta talk to each other. You don't know what that means?
I was thinking about something else though.
Oh, I don't know what you're thinking of. I don't know. G's, their mind is somewhere else now. I don't know. But you can tell us about it. Go ahead. What do you have to say?
But like this whole Netflix thing, right? Like it's been going up for years, and it's just another example of like how like inflation and the economy and the system's just crumbling. Like we see this here, we see it with the chicken, we see it with empty shelves at the stores, right? Like it's everywhere, really. It's everywhere, and we gotta, you know, we gotta let people know why, right? Like, because at the end of the day, we have the solution, which is to make our own things, right? We're gonna make our own movies, we're gonna make our own shows that is not some liberal propaganda. Because our people are tired of it too. Our people are, you know, like all these liberal like movies and shows, they're the same story over and over, and people are getting tired of it. People, you know, even people starting to read again.
Start reading.
People are reading now. That's what colonialism and crisis makes you read books, y'all. People are like, I need to touch paper because I can't afford the big computer screen.
Yeah, what you were saying about recycled things. What was the show that we were talking about that was like Twilight and is the same as
It's the same as God, we were just talking about this. I forgot.
They remake the same.
No.
They remake the same movies, y'all,
Yeah.
like over and over
Over and
again,
over.
and it's because one, like it's mostly like white people making up these stories that they got no creative backbone. But yeah, also just because like they know what that science works. So
Yeah, and like the liberal propaganda is real deep now. Like that, this past Christmas, they had that like interracial gay like romantic comedy. That was like a standard romantic comedy, like, oh, like pretend to be my lover for my parents so they think I'm not single and we're just best friends. But oops, we fall in love. And now they have that for a black, white, interracial gay couple. And it was like a third most watched thing on Netflix because they know liberals eat that crap up, and so they're hoping that you will still pay these high prices because you buy into the Sleepy Joe Biden Kamala agenda.
Yeah, stop.
You.
Anyways, like y'all have been pointing out, right? It's the chicken and Netflix and stuff.
The chicken.
Really shows like y'all laid out already, like everything is crumbling, right? I'm still low-key hoping my mom doesn't cancel our account.
Please.
Although, to be honest, I only really watched Netflix for like one specific movie. Because another thing I noticed was that it was becoming all like Netflix shows and all Netflix movies, right? Because like again, like you couldn't. I don't think they can afford to like have the rights or whatever. To play all of these other things. So they took my movie away. And so I don't watch Netflix anymore. Because it's just that one movie and I don't know why I can't find it, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll find it.
We'll find it.
The internet's a big place.
Exactly. We'll be reunited soon.
Be optimistic.
Exactly. No, but yeah, like this is just like you said, one example of many things to come. But yeah, until then, be nice to the people that have the account.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Be really nice. So that they're, you can keep it.
Yeah, know what you should do? You should go to the person who owns that Netflix account that you use and give them a K95 mask from blackhammer.org/free mask. And they'll appreciate that. You know what? They'll say, you know what? I'm going to keep paying for this more with the Netflix. And you can keep the password. You'll be like, yo, thank you. Thank you, friend. Thank you, Combat. And I'm glad you'll be safe with this K95 mask. It's a mutual exchange. Make it happen. But yeah, I like what Steve to be here. Representation costs extra, right? Yeah, it does cost extra to see yourself, and in the end, the biggest cost is that your freedom. Yeah, you don't get to actually liberate yourself because you're gonna get too entrenched in this idea that because you see yourself on the screen that they must love you and that you are free. And no, they don't love you and you ain't free. Just like how Netflix ain't free. So yeah, these prices are gonna keep going up until we have revolution. But how can we support revolution? You can donate. Okay, you could donate again to Black Hammer Shy. Our chapter's Cash App, or you can donate to our Venmo, Shy Hammers. Those are the two places that you can support us. Make sure you give $5 for Shy, $5 for Chicago to help keep people warm and help our chapter, really move into the spring and summer with like a lot of resources for us to really get to these contradictions, because the Rona ain't gonna let up this until the summer. It's not gonna let up, and people are gonna go back outside because people are just be tired of the lies, tired of the fake news, tired of not being told the truth, and they're just gonna want to let loose this summer. I feel it. And so we gotta make sure our people are protected. So donate to us at our Cash App, Black Hammer Shy, or our Venmo, Shy Hammers, y'all. But yeah, we're going to get into our announcements. One, make sure you watch the Revolutionary Church online every Sunday. It's on our YouTube page that you're on right now, Black Hammer TV. And you can watch all of the ones that have happened all right, and see exactly how our Atlanta chapter is not just serving the people, serving homeless people things that they need, but is politically educating them to bring them into that leadership we were talking about earlier, right? The leadership that's going to actually change the world, not knowing we're going to vote in, no politician that we're going to vote for. So every Sunday, y'all. And then make sure you still call. We still are calling 404-658-6618 to drop the charges on our hammers. You know, they are still keeping our hammers under these charges for serving homeless, feeding the homeless. You know it ain't right. Make your voice heard. Call that number, the Atlanta City Solicitor, Rains Carter, and let them know we need to drop these charges. And then next Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, it is the Revolutionary Book Chat. Again, what are we reading? What's a comment?
Open Veins of Latin America. Finishing through chapter 1.
Yes, we're finishing through chapter 1, which is pages 38 to 58. All right, y'all. So we will see you next Sunday for that. And if you need the book, you go to blackhammer.org/library to get the book. But yes, I believe that's it. Yes. We have gone through a lot of emotional topics today, but it's what colonialism does to our people, so we're going to talk about it. We're not going to hold back and we're going to talk about it. Okay. So tune in next Monday. We're going to keep making tostadas because it was so messy. I'm like, I can't make another one on this, on this show right now.
I was like, that's okay. I'm going to slurp it.
I've been waiting so long, y'all. All right. So we're going to do that. But in general, we want you to stay safe and land back.
Land back.